Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 409, Megalopolis from 2024. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by CoverCity.net. For all of your high-res DVD covers that you lost and need to print out again, check out CoverCity.net.
Well, shout out to CoverCity.net and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. We mentioned last week that the episode for today was going to be Fate the Furious. We had a scheduling conflict, so we just moved some things around. So with us tonight, look. There's a show on the network that covers all of Francis Ford Coppola's films that may or may not have been created to specifically cover this film. It may or may not have covered this film yet, and maybe I still am waiting for them to talk about this movie. I'm saving some details for them. We're going to talk about some stuff here. Our guest is going to have some stuff. Our guest is not one of the hosts of that show.
It's not.
I would love to see our other show on the network cover this movie at some point, because I have a lot to say about it, I'm sure. Because Coppola has been talking about this movie for decades. We'll talk about that. But with us tonight, the man who requested to talk about this film, the host of every one of your favorite podcasts other than this one, the man with a million jobs who we learn has 2 or 3 new jobs every time we talk to him. Former bouncer, former stuntman, former stand-in, former second unit director, former beard groomer. Who knows what's going on? With us tonight, Mark Hofmeyer. Hello, Mark.
Hey, I want to be tonight. My name is Dang Gold.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
you know when you go like
instead of Wow Platinum.
Yeah, it's like, but like when you say dang, you gotta be like dang.
Dang.
Like not like dang nabbit. You gotta be like, oh dang.
Dang.
Gold.
Please don't.
I knew a Dan Gold, so that's pretty close.
Yeah, Dan Gold.
Way to dox him. Thanks.
Yeah, just call me Mark. Just call me Mark. This is great.
Well, Mark, welcome to the show. Too Fast, Too Forever, Megalopolis. We are covering this because Nathalie Emmanuel is in the movie.
Yeah.
This is the oops, we should have covered that already lap. We shouldn't have covered this already, but the network probably should have covered this already. So we're covering the network spaces with this oops pick of Megalopolis. I know that Joe saw this for the first time today.
Yes.
I saw this in theaters. I talked about it a little bit when I saw this, but Mark, did you see this in theaters? How many times have you seen this movie now in total? And initial thoughts before we go deeper.
So there was an IMAX press screening. I couldn't go because my wife was out of town and I was hanging out with my daughter. She's awesome. It's all good. I'm not complaining. And then I ended up, this is my 3rd time watching it because I love it.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And also just, Nathalie Emmanuel's filmography is very random and I kind of love it. She'll pop up in a remake of The Killer. Then she's in a vampire movie called The Invitation. She's in a prequel to a zombie heist film. And then she's in a movie called Arthur the King, running around with Mark Wahlberg. And then she runs around in the Maze Runner movies. So she's just popping up in all sorts of stuff. And then if you look up a movie called Holly Slept Over, I haven't watched it, but it has one of the worst posters I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
It's a classic rom-com poster. And you just dislike everyone on it.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I listen, I love this film. And I have a question, guys. There's a scene where Wow Platinum... Such a great.
Yeah, you just went right into it. You didn't
Played
even
by Joe's girl Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, and then she comes across Caesar Catalina, and it's all cold out, and she's not wearing a jacket, and he comes up all bundled up, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't wear any jacket because I knew that you would come up and give me yours." And she said that it smells like sandalwood and citrus. So if you guys give your jacket to somebody, what are they gonna like? If you give your jacket and scarf to somebody, what's your smell?
Oh,
mine is usually vodka and regret.
Wow.
What does regret smell like?
You know it when you smell it.
It smells like
Mark.
vodka.
Yeah, it also smells like vodka.
Like vodka smells like vodka. Regret smells like 3-day-old vodka.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, there's a difference.
Exactly. There is, but my hoodie would probably smell like both at any and all times.
You know what? Regret smells like Gilby's vodka.
Was Gilby's your regional plastic bottle vodka? Is that okay?
And it just I think it destroyed my liver in high school.
Yeah.
So that's what regret smells like, a damaged liver.
Mark, what does your jacket smell like?
Just like musk. This man musk.
Dad
musk and coffee.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
I gotta tell you guys, I recently switched. I used to wear that hot, like super duty deodorant. that like basically just seals off your armpit from all sweat.
Yeah.
But then I learned about all the aluminum and stuff. So like the last like years I've
Yes.
been wearing natural
Same.
stuff. Doesn't
Yes.
work as well. But at least I'm not worried about like
Do you ever try like the Lumi and shit like that?
I do native.
I don't know what that one is. Rachel has one that she likes. I like the Lumi one. That's pretty good.
Native's nice because they have just the most absurd flavor. Like it's like Starburst and peppermint. And you're like, oh, why not? You
Yeah.
know, like, put
Probably
that in my
smells
armpit.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all natural. And there's no aluminum or whatever is in there that just blocks your pits off.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's why I said man musk and coffee.
I do want to apologize to all of our listeners, not for that conversation, although maybe for that conversation as well, but also specifically because Francis Ford Coppola has removed this movie from all streaming platforms, and you cannot buy a Blu-ray of this movie in America.
Is there a reason why?
He's touring the country with it, right? And he wants people to go see it.
But nobody saw it when it was out everywhere, and people were talking about it, and now no one's talking about it.
So you put it back in theaters on tour right now.
I should have put this on MFF, Movies, Films, and Flix, because I've covered so many movies that you just can't find. Or you have to buy as part of a Patrick Swayze 3-pack because it's not streaming anywhere. But then 6 years later, Kino Lorber releases a Blu-ray of it.
Right.
Like, oh, well, good.
So
It's like, yeah.
if you want to see this, you'd have to pirate it, or you can import. What I've learned is that, so Blu-rays have different regions. Like you can't play a European Blu-ray and play it on an American Blu-ray player. You can play like a region free, but all 4K discs are region free. So there's a British, I think, and an Italian or a French and an Italian or whatever 4K version of this. So if you can buy this movie in like through Amazon.com, like American Amazon, through some seller and get it and be able to watch it on a 4K player, but for a guy who spent more than $100 million of his own money, you would think that he would want it in as many places as possible to get some of that money back.
Is this movie an allegory for him losing his own bank?
He's been losing his bank for
Yeah,
decades.
Joe, what do you know about
Nothing. That's what I'm saying.
No,
Tell me
about Francis Ford Coppola.
nothing about this movie in the context of it. So that's what I'm saying. You could tell me whatever you want. It's all going to be news to me.
Okay, so here's the background for this movie. Well, here's what the movie's about.
Wait, we didn't get to your answer about smells, Joe.
I don't know.
Is-
I don't wear a jacket really. I just wear a sweatshirt.
Oh, okay. Fun. Wow.
Vanilla and
I was trying to move on
Orange
because I don't
juice.
have an answer, and then you circle back like a true professional. The city of New Rome faces the duel between Caesar Catalina, a brilliant artist in favor of a utopian future, and the greedy mayor Franklin Cicero. Between them is Julia Cicero, with her loyalty divided between her father and her beloved.
Yes.
So written, directed, and produced by Francis Ford Coppola. He's one of 9 producers, but the only one who matters really is Francis Ford Coppola, who, if you've not familiarized yourself with his work, go check out Uncle Francis's Wine Cellar. But The Godfather, The Conversation, The Godfather Part 2, The Godfather Coda, Apocalypse Now, One from the Heart, which we'll talk about
bunch of
more.
good movies. Yeah.
More recently, Twixt, Youth Without Youth, both of those who were shot by Mihai Malamayer Jr., who also shot this film. Budget between 120 and 130 million, made 14 million at the box office, including $20 from me. Though the film was a box office bomb, Lionsgate still made a small profit from it because Coppola paid for like all of it. So whatever Lionsgate got, whatever they chipped in, they got some money back. 45% on Rotten Tomatoes, 35% by the audience. Critics' consensus, more of a creative manifesto than a cogent narrative feature. Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis is an overstuffed opus that's equal parts stimulating and slapdash. No crazy credits, which there should have been crazy credits because this movie felt like it would have had crazy credits.
Yeah.
So the background for this is that he wrote the screenplay for this, the script, in the 80s, or early 80s.
decades ago.
But he owed money. So what happened was, all the way back to Apocalypse Now in the 70s, The Outsiders, Lawrence Fishburne when making Apocalypse Now, Rob Lowe making The Outsiders, was I remember him talking about this movie. This
I
has
have
been
this great
in his
fucking
mind.
movie.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm cooking up here, bro. Just wait.
Megalon!
What he has done 3 times is he has believed in a project with his whole heart so much that he has basically bankrupted himself to make a movie. So he did it with Apocalypse Now, big hit, very big success.
Yeah.
He does it again.
Is the next one from the heart?
One from the Heart in 1981, which he recently
now.
recut and is very interesting. But Joe, this is basically, without really describing the plot of the movie, he basically, instead of shooting in Las Vegas, rebuilt Las Vegas.
Nice.
He just built a set of a back alley
Smart.
and the Vegas Strip. And the movie is interesting. I think the movie is good, and I like the movie. But that movie ate so much shit that he's been bankrupt for like decades. And every movie he made between like the early 80s and the late 90s, he was paying off that debt. Perfect. So he was like, he owed all this money. So he really wanted to make this movie Megalopolis. He wrote it in the 80s, but he's like, he didn't have money because he was just so in debt.
Hence The Rainmaker.
Right. The Rainmaker is the movie that basically got him into the black, out of the red, into the black.
And just made him quit for 10 years so he could go do other things.
So he finally starts pre-production in 2001, and he shoots 30 hours of second unit footage and shoots table reads. So just not like screenplay, but just like, people reading the script out of the table. Paul Newman, Uma Thurman, Robert De Niro, James Gandolfini, Nicolas Cage, Leonardo DiCaprio, Russell Crowe, Edie Falco, Kevin Spacey, 9/11, project on hold.
Damn.
Because apparently in that version of the script, something quote unquote predicted 9/11.
And the satellite too.
So he abandons the project
in
2007 entirely, and then doesn't start working on it again until 2019.
Okay.
Before Adam Driver was cast, he wanted Christian Bale. Originally, Caesar was played by Nicolas Cage. That's in the 2001
Oh, so
version.
it's a connection for you? Yeah, nice.
Well, because, nephew. He's Coppola's nephew.
Yeah, exactly.
Russell Crowe considered for the role. I mentioned that before. So in 2007, when he picks it back up, Leonardo DiCaprio was attached to play him. They found no producer. They couldn't do it. 2019, Jude Law was attached, and then the pandemic hit, and he's like, well, I can't do this. Like, it's funny not funny, but like, you're able to trace the history of America through the production of this movie. Like 9/11, like what projects were fucked by both 9/11 and
the pandemic,
COVID? Like very few.
Very, very few.
2022, Christian Bale off
it's
the
like
roll.
the gods knew what this movie would be, and they were like trying to stop it for 3 decades until he just brute forced his way into making it.
Christian Bale offered the role. He had conflicts with the cast, Adam Driver. In other lead roles back in 2022, when they like basically started like for real making this movie, Zendaya was in here somewhere, Cate Blanchett was in here somewhere, Michelle Pfeiffer, James Caan, Jessica Lange, they all dropped out or James Caan died, and they were all replaced by Nathalie Emmanuel, Aubrey Plaza, Grace VanderWaal, James Remar, and Catherine Hunter. Oscar Isaac was in the movie at some point. He eventually dropped out.
Were people dropping out because they were like
at a certain
looking around
point,
going,
it's just like you got to shit or get off the pot. Like I can't hold 3 or 6 months. Like Mark can probably talk to this as like someone who actually has been on set of productions.
You think
but
it's logistical of timing?
Well, it's just like, okay, I'm blocking out 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 3 months or 6 months or whatever for this movie, and like all of a sudden, if you're supposed to shoot from January to June, and then it's March to September, and then it's June to December, it's like, well, you're not holding 6 months of the movie, you're not holding a year. You're missing out on other income that's actually things that are getting made.
Yes, true. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't know if they like came on set and they were like, I am not supposed to be here.
I forgot my coat.
Whoops.
The only other trivia that I have, and I could have gone much deeper, and I want Mark to share what he finds interesting, but there was another thing. So the craziest part about this movie, you would have no idea from watching it now.
Okay.
But in the movie, when the guy, there's like a press conference, and he asks Caesar about jumping into the future, being afraid, all that stuff, right? From the time this first screened at Cannes, through at least opening weekend when I saw it, that question was literally asked live in the theater by an employee.
Rachel reminded me this today, that she had remembered hearing about this.
So I had no idea that was a thing. And so at one point in the theater, a light comes on, like a sort of a spotlight to just like in front of the seats. And a guy, I guess is a theater employee, I don't know, reads a question to the screen, and Adam Driver listens and responds. And so in the movie, it's the same question. It's just like you see somebody sort of in front of him, between him and the camera, whatever, and he answers it. But I'm like, what the fuck is this? So if you'll remember, we might have talked about this when the movie came out. He was working with Amazon to create generative AI technology that would be able to hear any question asked by the audience and create a response to it.
With Adam Driver, like, responding live
Correct.
in theater.
Like, basically, it would deepfake voice and picture, and whatever question is heard, he would respond to in that moment.
Yeah.
It could be something related, something not related, whatever, but the thought was, this is going to be a live film, different every time you see it. he answers a different question, whatever.
Well, it's not going to change the outcome of the film. It's just going to be like you get a
scene.
Smurna ad
Sure.
in the middle of the thing. Sure.
So he wanted to do something like that. He also wanted to use technology similar to The Mandalorian, but the movie kept getting more and more expensive. Amazon couldn't do it, so he apparently fired the entire visual effects team. And then the production designer and the supervising art director then got frustrated by the fact that he fired the entire visual effects team, and they quit. So suddenly the movie had no art department in the middle of production, and
He's used to that.
he was like burning through money. So like,
Yeah.
he had these ideas for this movie that he just couldn't execute on because, number one,
Did he not?
radically
Because
difficult.
what? He had ideas that he didn't execute? Because this
Well-
seems like one man's ideas being executed to their maximum extent.
He's
with
a
no
chaos merchant.
Yeah.
People describe his scripts when they showed up on set as the daily newspaper because it was always different.
Okay, one of these guys. Okay.
Yeah, like, when he worked on Apocalypse Now, he was rewriting it every day. Sheen had a heart attack. They fired Harvey Keitel. He was rewriting it. He put his own money up. When they did Godfather, they have issue with producers. Like,
yeah.
when he did the one that Joey was talking about earlier, and I just forgot about the name. Yeah, like that thing went massively over budget. Bram Stoker's Dracula, he fired his entire special effects crew, and then hired his son to do all the in-camera effects. Peggy Sue got married. He brought in Nicolas Cage and he did the teeth, and Kathleen Turner hates him for it. Like, the guy has done so many films that have gone over budget, over time, over money. But I think the biggest thing, I did some research, and sorry to interrupt you guys, but
No, please.
When Coppola went over budget on Apocalypse Now, he had a book to reference, Heart of Darkness. And if you watch the documentary Hearts of Darkness, you'll see how he did. But you have Joseph Campbell's book, right? Like,
So he kind of has boundaries. Like, he can't break through too much.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, what are we doing? Well, we're going down a river to find a guy. He's like, okay, we're on a river. And while we're going down that river, I got to figure out the story until we get to Brando. Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's Dracula. There's the Harkers, there's a property. So you have a blueprint. He had a roadmap. But then, so I looked up like Apocalypse Now. It's based on a book. Godfather based on a book. Godfather 2 partly from a book. Rainmaker book. Peggy Sue Got Married. The script existed. Outsiders, Rumblefish book. Finian's Rainbow. That was a play. You're a Big Boy Now was like a script that existed. Cotton Club was based on a book, I believe. Gardens of Stone was based on a book. Tucker, the Man in His Dream was a biography of a man's life. Jack was an existing script, and Youth Without Youth was a book. But like, when it comes to Godfather 3, he and Puzo wrote that, and that had a lot of issues on set. When he wrote One from the Heart, that's an original Coppola that just went into chaos. The Conversation went great. He wrote that. That's like his one thing that he didn't really have a lot of problems with. But then we get to Megalopolis, and like every day he's changing it on set, but it's his idea. So like the production department, the art department, they can't just go to the source material.
Yeah.
They can't. They're like, all right, Francis.
What do we prep for today?
Yeah, and he's in his room rewriting because on set, like, they didn't even know what Apocalypse Now was until they started sending like the smoke out and it got all surreal. So this one, when it started going over the top, he's like, yeah, we'll do that. So like, there's no time to build sets. There was no time to prep a lot of things. There were some things that were planned, but like, if you're a visual, if you're on set and you're building sets or you have costumes, you're waiting on this guy all the time. And it's kind of interesting how his movie ballooned in budget, but it's because he didn't have a handle on it. And so the longer the days go, that means you have more days and more months, and you're renting studios longer, you're renting equipment longer. And he just burned through his money trying to find it, but he didn't have a book to be his map and let his crew be on the same page with it, if that makes sense. Like, so
yeah, you have 30 years to write this fucking script, and you're still doing edits the day of. Like, come on, man. Like, you think you would have something on paper that's like, this is the story to give them an idea.
That's him. That's him though, which is crazy, because I feel like if you're going to work on his movie, that's happening, and it's frustrating, but that's it. Like, I think, and also he had a lot of Marvel people, and I worked on Marvel movies. They're very organized, or they were very organized when I was working on them. You knew, like, I worked on a James Gunn thing. That script was locked before they even went into it. So if you're going from like Guardians of the Galaxy to a Coppola picture, you're working with Coppola, so you got to help him with his vision because he's paying for it. But it's going to be a frustrating process. So I think this movie was all in his head, and it got a little lost because he didn't have that roadmap to follow. Because this is based on an incredible amount of books and Shakespeare and history and like actual people, actual dialogue, and it just becomes this kind of jumbled soup that was in his brain.
It does feel like it's based on literally everything you have read or seen before.
Yes.
I think there's something. So before I saw the movie, because it came out on Thursday or Friday or whatever, like it normally does. Before the movie, there was a live event in New York, and they simulcasted to like a bunch of theaters who are doing this like Megalopolis event.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it was a Q&A between some moderator from the, like some film site, whatever, Coppola,
I had a chance to go to that.
De Niro, and Spike Lee. It was like 25 or 30 minutes. I recorded it on my phone. Sorry, FBI. Just the audio. And I sent it to Mike and Brian. I'm like, hey, when you guys do your episode, here's some interesting stuff. I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember it was not great because Coppola, they're all old dudes. And like, they're just like, they think they have a point and they just sort of like ramble and don't hit a point or whatever.
Yeah.
But they were all because this came out in September, right before the election, and they were all firmly, staunchly anti-Trump. And I think the issue with this movie in terms of, like, as a baseline, is that, like, it feels very much like a commentary on MAGA and Trump and conservatism.
I think he thinks it is.
I don't know who you're rooting for, because it seems like both sides are Trumpy. And maybe you're not supposed to root for anybody, because it's like, there's people, like, literally wearing red hats, but there's other people on the other side who, like, sort of embody, like, whatever. It's just, like, there's things like, I love this movie because it's trying so hard. Like, he's putting his whole ass into this thing, and, like, there's stuff here, and there's remarkable things that I've never seen before, and it is so impressive. But I just look at this, and I'm just like, you feel this way, and you made this movie to, like, partly express these feelings, and I don't know what you're saying.
Yes, that's my whole point, too, yes.
So,
yeah, but it does feel very much like a high production version of The Room in its own way. Like, there's a lot of heart and a lot of interesting choices.
Well, I think that's why, like, the Uncle Francis' Wine Cellar podcast, if Brian's even listening, Brian does know. He saw on Discord that we're covering this, so, like, he knows. I think it's he's a fascinating guy to cover because he does this a lot. Like Mark was saying, like, he has these passion projects that, like, sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't. Like, bearing in mind, returning to, like, The Godfather 2, like, he is the guy who said, like, sequels are okay. Like, the first ever real sequel was The Godfather Part 2. So, like, the fact that we have sequels is kind of because of him. When he hits, he hits.
Yeah.
And then when he misses, he costs himself $100 million.
Yeah.
And reputation and whatever.
When he hits, he really does.
Yeah.
I mean, and you look at Bram Stoker's Dracula, I think that has the most gorgeous costume design I've ever seen in my life. It won the Oscar. I went to his winery just to see some of it. I was working I did an event at Charles Krug Winery, and it was like 117 degrees. It was insane. We finished the event, and then my wife and I went to go check that out just so I could see the Bram Stoker's Dracula outfits. Like,
and he keeps it there in the winery.
Yeah, the winery.
Cool.
Yeah, and like,
Very
they're
cool.
sumptuous and they're gorgeous. And even Rumblefish I watched, and I was really impressed with that, but it didn't do well. Like Cotton Club didn't do well. He makes these giant swings, but he never learns. And I just don't think, and in this one, he had I think when he used to make movies, he had a lot of people who believed in him. I think when he made this one, he was pissing off people left and right. Shia LaBeouf was fighting with him every day.
Oh, was he?
Coppola was like, he's like, Shia just is antagonistic towards directors, and he's self-destructive. And all he wants to do is be antagonistic towards directors. But then Shia's like, I didn't know what I was doing. He didn't tell me what I was doing. He's like, and Adam Driver didn't know what he was doing. He's like, no one knew what they were doing. And like, they're like, yeah, we just improv'd. And like, we did a lot of this and that. And yeah, I don't know. This is a big swing and a miss, because I just don't think there was many people supporting him. He didn't have like a Martin Sheen murdering himself like he did in Apocalypse Now and cutting himself and having heart attacks. Like, he didn't have a crew going to war with him. And then you had all the stuff from on set about the women and the extras, and it just, I don't know. I think he had to excise this from his brain. I've done versions of this that are 100 million times less. No, 140 million times less than this. But sometimes you got to get an idea out of your head. And I figured he probably figured it was now or never.
Yeah.
So I admire him, but he just doesn't have, like I said, he doesn't have the source material to go from. No one really knew what he was on, and it just costs so much money. But it's still there are shots in this that are gorgeous. Nathalie Emmanuel just looks like an angel the entire time.
Yeah.
Like her costume design is incredible. I like what Joey said. There's so many movies that you can't talk about and there's nothing. It was good. It was good. It's a good movie. But this one's loaded with so many things to talk about and like consider. And, and I don't know what you guys think. Some people said that this is, what do you call it? Like a philosopher, like a weekend philosopher movie.
Oh, what is that?
Like a dumb smart movie. Like it's
a bro. Do you know this movie situation?
It quotes Hamlet. It quotes this, but it doesn't go in depth with anything.
Right.
I watched Thunderbolts and I liked it, but you can't go in deep into the depths of depression when you are a big budget film. People are knocking on this for being like an armchair philosophy student, but I mean that's unfair because I never hear anybody who watched this movie quoting any type of philosophy at all. But then all of a sudden it comes out and everyone's making fun of them for being like a philosophy student.
Well, I think so. So like to the broader point, like we talk about that on here a lot, like verbatim, where it's like, if it's a great movie, we can rave about it. If it's a bad movie, we can dunk on it. But if it's like an okay movie, like there's nothing to say. It's just like, oh, all right, like it was fine.
It was
like,
good.
Whatever.
It was good.
Joe has said before, his Rotten Tomatoes score, he loves above 90 and below 10, right? Like either like things that everybody hates or everybody loves.
Yes.
I love, like, what I have found is like the 30 and 40, where this is the interesting stuff. Because it's like, it's trying for something, it usually doesn't hit, but like people like it, most people don't, but there's something there. And
yes.
I don't think this is a good movie, but I've never seen anything like it.
Yes.
I love watching it. I can't, like, I didn't really take notes. I also, like, I don't know how to say this, like, forgot I was watching it, like, halfway through. I'm just like, oh, wait, like, I haven't been paying, like, I just sort of, like, just zoned out and just, like, was watching the screen.
It's very good for that. Your brain does turn off in this movie a lot.
Mm-hmm. The last hour when he gets shot in the face, you're just like, oh, man.
Yeah, because they instantly repair him. Like, I I have that in my notes. I'm like, okay, wow, shooting Adam Driver with an hour left, that's a fucking choice. And it's like, no, it's not, because he's just, like, back alive faster than Fast and the Furious characters. Like, the next scene, he's just totally fine.
I was watching it, like, and I was, there's a scene, and I stopped it, and then I came back 2 minutes later, and I resumed the same scene, and I was like, this feels like a totally different scene. Like,
yes, I've done that too.
And it was the same thing where I was just like, I don't really know, because like a lot of this looks like a music video, a lot of this looks like it's green screen, because it kind of is, but it's something where I would rather, like, I like Thunderbolts, I didn't love Thunderbolts, I will probably never watch Thunderbolts again. I would watch, like, 15 movies like this that are probably not good before I would watch another one of Thunderbolts, because like these are movies that just don't come out. Like they just don't, they aren't made. And I think it's fascinating when a movie like this is available, because it's like, oh, you really tried and you spent a lot of money and it just didn't happen.
You know what's interesting? There's a conversation. Coppola did a Q&A with, I think, BFI, a really intriguing conversation. And they were talking about whether films were art or business, which is a conversation you and I had about Under the Silver Lake. Mm-hmm. They kind of think so that filmmaking is a science, which I think is pretty interesting because, listen, Thunderbolts works, but I feel like Thunderbolts is like 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 5. Does that make, like, it's fine. Uh-huh. It's like very simple math. And I mean, look at CSI, NCIS. It's all the same stuff. Yeah. This movie's like a freaking equation with like E² × B2 over X. And then it's like multiplied by B7 over G2. And then it equals 6. And you're like, how? Like, it's like, it doesn't really, there's no consistency to it. You don't really know where it's going. I think Coppola lost the reins to this thing as well, but it's still far more intriguing and far more worthwhile. Like, I would watch this. Like, I love that it's this odd, like, if this was a science, it would be like those beakers that explode in a lab. Like, he didn't mix 3 ingredients and be like perfect. Like, this is one where you're kind of looking in the corner of your eye and you see something bubbling and you're like, oh, I got to get out of here. And that's what this is. And I kind of love that about it. So if they're talking about art, it being art and a business or like a science, this is like a total science project of a movie that does not clean your socks. If, you know, like a science project from like elementary school. But that's why you got to like it. I don't know.
I love this, and I love the way you're describing this, because I do really enjoy this because it is so chaotic, and there is so many, like, he's making a potion, and like this thing could be great or it could explode at any moment.
Yes.
And like and you feel it, like you feel it in, like, I think you feel it in the performances of the people that were there are being like, okay, like, are we putting this all together right or what? Like, and they're like, I don't know, just roll with it, guys. And like they just did, and you just get to the end. Like,
for lack of a better term, like Oppenheimer, people are like, you're crazy, man, you're too driven, I quit, I'm out of here, this is nuts. It works. Like, their project paid off. Like this one, a lot of people left. People like, you're nuts, Coppola, and then it didn't work. Yeah. It's like his science project did not, like, there's a satellite that blows up a lot of the city, but for every satellite moment, there are those statues that are legitimately crumbling under the weight,
but
of
also animated.
Yeah, and like, they use miniatures, and those people actually had makeup on them, so it's like a real roller coaster of a movie that would legitimately blow up your lab, but that's more exciting than like a really simple formula that does something. So I like that he's a chaos merchant. I like that, he could walk out of the lab with like his goggles on, but the rest of his face is all black like a cartoon. And that's what this one is. That's cool. We need people who make swings like this. But the problem is, when people make swings like this, they often miss. And then studios get more and more worried about backing stuff like this. So it's like, yeah, I want more of these. But then when they tank, you're kind of like, whoa.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we complain about, like, it's a studio thing, but it's also like moviegoers where, especially in our world for this podcast, we talk a lot about people being like, why are you making another Fast and Furious movie? I don't want to see that. And then they go, like, a movie like this comes out, and they don't go see that either. It's like, well, you can't complain about sequels and being like bored of certain things and then not support individual, unique ideas. Like, it's very
Black
frustrating.
Bag is the best movie of 2025, and it made $6. But everyone's like, we need more movies like Black Bag. Opening weekend, $8.
Yep.
And you're like, what are you guys talking? And then they're like, guys, I watched Thunderbolts, and it's like catharsis.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like Thunderbolts, but yeah, they want these movies, but then they don't go see them. And then studios in turn become more like, I don't want this. And then, but we also, it's interesting. This isn't even like a blank check movie. This isn't Evan Almighty. This isn't John Carter. This isn't The Happening. This dude paid for it. Like, so it's not like Lionsgate was like, yeah, man, we'll give you $150 million to make Megalopolis. Go away. Coppola's like, no, I got to share my like thing in the winery. I got to sell Nick Cage, sell my soul to the devil to raise this. So it's not even like a blank check movie that goes off the rails. It was like his passion project, which makes it a little sadder, but also more interesting, I think.
Way more interesting. I love when somebody has a passion project. You get to see what they were trying to do, right? And like, if you're doing it with his own funding, like his own money and shit, like, he put his whole ass in this. He thought that it was going to work. In his head, this was a really great idea.
It's like Silence. When Scorsese made Silence, which I love, and also, our guys in there from who's in this as well. But when I watched that, I'm like, I was like, I love this movie. And I remember thinking, no one's going to watch this. And then it didn't do too well, but I still love that Coppola went out and made the thing. But not Coppola, Scorsese. But yeah, it's always interesting when people go away for a while and go make a movie. I feel like he had fun on set. I have a question, guys. Which Fast and Furious movie would a character shooting a tiny bow and arrow at someone, like what Fast and Furious would be made better? Yeah, you like my boner? Go to the club. What Fast and Furious movie would be made better by a tiny bow and arrow scene?
2.
Who has the tiny bow and arrow?
Carter?
Tyrese has to have it.
Roman, yeah.
And who do they shoot?
I think he shoots Carter at the table when he does the I'll have my cutter back. Like, before that scene, like when they're all sitting there, I think he would be like, pew pew, and like shoot him there.
He would just murder him at the table?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So Too Fast, Too Furious.
It ends there. The movie's over, but they kill Carter Verone at the table with the tiny.
You know what I think would work? At the end of Fast and Furious 09, when the car is flipped, the boys is coming up to shoot him, and all of a sudden he just pulls out a tiny bow and arrow instead of
Phoenix,
like Vin Diesel.
like he shoots Phoenix instead of
instead of Dom saving the day, Brian just pulls out like a tiny bow and arrow and shoots him with it.
Joe, I want to hear what you thought. I know that you said there's a lot to talk about, and I get the sense that you enjoyed watching it.
I have taken more notes for this film than any other film we've done in this lab.
So what did you think overall, and what were some of your favorite moments?
Give me some highlights.
I think this movie is batshit insane because it somehow feels like a shitty Lifetime movie and a play being captured on screen, but the cast is incredible. And, like, they also don't seem like they're doing very well in the film because I think, like you guys said, there's probably not a lot of directions. Nope. Everybody's kind of doing their own path here. Like, why does Adam Driver sometimes become Willy Wonka in the middle of this movie? Sometimes, that's what I was saying to my friends that, like, hadn't seen. So, like, I like to describe the movie, like, as I'm watching it to them if they haven't seen it and I know they're not going to watch it. Sometimes Adam Driver's just in a silly, goofy mood, and he just, like, wants to do, like, a little Willy Wonka, like, sachet down the street, and that's, like, totally fine. But for the most of the movie, he's, like, super brooding, like you'd imagine Adam Driver is. And, like, which side of that is happening?
What I was surprised about this time, in terms of Adam Driver and in terms of the lack of direction, Mark mentioned the line earlier, go back to the club, which became a very big meme on Twitter, like, people remixing that, like, setting it to Charlie XCX music. It's, like, so thrown off. It's like so understated in this movie. Like, if you don't think, like, you...
Well, it's the way he had pronounces it. It's like club.
Well, no, I know that, but, like, it's still, like, it's not... There's the line that you and fan favorite Garrett Smith talk about in Fast Five. I remember everything about my fada. And, like, that... Like,
fada.
I don't think it's as stressed
pronounced
as you guys make it seem. But compared to this line, that sticks out like a sore thumb. This is just, like, he says a thing... in, like, the context of, like, a crazy conversation, but people are just like, that's the line. But nobody...
I heard it. I didn't know that, and I heard it this time, and like, it's in my notes.
But
and
yeah,
I'm like, why did
nobody
he say
talks
club
about
like
the way that they should. The pick up my hat scene, where Shia
pick up my
slams his hat down and says, pick up my hat, and the guy behind him slams down his hat and says, pick up my hat.
Yeah,
and they
keep
do
doing
all
it
the way back.
That's kind of an incredible thought. That was really fun.
It's like, why are people not talking? Like, it's just... I think this movie is so much like that. But anyway, keep going. Okay, keep going.
Aubrey Plaza, very interesting character. I'm a big Aubrey Plaza fan. I have a super crush on her all the time. Like, what is she doing? She sings herself off. She's a reporter who sings herself off of the segment at one point. There's a lot of, like, music. There's a musical number, maybe two, possibly two,
Can you describe...
That song is fire.
I would love
It's
you
so
to
good.
describe
It's so good.
The musical scene. Like, what's going on with Vesta Sweetwater?
Okay, let me lay this out.
Played
for
by
you.
Grace VanderWaal, like an actual pop singer.
They go to Madison Square Garden.
But like old Madison Square
Rome.
Garden, but yes. Mm-hmm.
No, but I think this is post-apocalyptic. I think because it's New Rome.
There was trivia that it was based on an earlier version, but it's still yes, it's New Rome, but it's New York. Yes.
Yeah, so they go to Madison Square Garden because that's where they do the, Coliseum Games, right? Because it's New Rome, and so they watch a little bit of like gladiator type shit, and then they have WWE style wrestling. Not like actual wrestling. It's like fully like Stone Cold. And then in between that, one of the most amazing things happens that I need to address. Somehow along this way, while they're all watching the games happening at Madison Square Garden, we get another one of these surreal pipe dream kind of things, and it's of Adam Driver giving a speech, like he's like running press or something for Megalopolis, right? And he says, "Man, I'm gonna eat some of those things. What are they called? The little hot dogs and the things? Yeah, we should give a Nobel Prize to that guy that invented pigs in a blanket." And I was like, that's a line I never thought I would have ever heard in my life, but send it. Okay.
I think that scene was filmed at the Fox.
Oh, really?
It's a theater in Atlanta, yeah.
Okay, cool. So they're doing that, and then they're like, okay, now it's time for the PBS telethon for our resident virgin. And so so they bring out the resident virgin, who is a pop star, and they're like, open up the phone lines. And are they taking bids on her? Like, who gets to keep her, or is it just donations?
I think it's unclear.
She's gonna stay I thought it was like she's gonna stay a virgin. They're paying for that.
I think it's like, I am supporting like the most beautiful girl in the world, who is this like pop star that we adore. It's
adopt a virgin for a quarter a day. You can adopt a virgin.
Correct.
Okay.
However,
who that character is, I don't even know, that caused this all.
Well, I can tell you, it doesn't matter, because this is like 1/15 of the movie.
Yeah, and completely inconsequential to the rest of the entire story.
Although it's also a scene that must have cost $10 million to shoot.
Probably. So some other character is mad because they're all like fighting, so they drop off of a fancy futuristic past USB drive and say, you got to play this. And they do the song, which, to Mark's point, is way better than it deserves to be this part of this movie. It's awesome. Good song, whatever. She's killing it. And then they plug it in, and it's possibly AI footage of the Virgin having sex with Adam Driver. Later it comes out that it was fudged, but we don't know if it was actually fudged or not fudged because, again, it doesn't really matter.
Well, I think this is also Coppola being like, deepfakes are a problem. I'm going to put deepfakes in my movie.
There's a lot of that. Joey, you're hitting it. That's exactly what it is. He's like, hey, you know what's bad? Like deepfakes. Like, so he like touches on the idea of it, but instead of making the film about like a deep thought of this, it's just like 30 high ideas that he was like, what if we talked about this for like 2 minutes? Mm-hmm. And you're like, should we really need to do that? He's like, it's important. Put that in. Then what happens? Adam Driver goes on a bender, right? But what happens to the end of the Virgin? Okay, so like he just gets put out there. They get mad that he apparently had sex with the Virgin, even though he didn't.
She becomes a sexy rock star.
Oh, she does release Toxic immediately after this. Like she goes right into, she has her dirty era of Christina Aguilera after they accuse her of not being a virgin. Yeah, she goes fully like, it was awesome. I really like that idea, to be honest. That was like one of my notes. I was like, I really like that she goes like fully into the like she accepted it. Like, you know, she's not a Disney pop star anymore. She's not.
And she lied about her age.
Yeah, she lied about her age. Yeah, exactly. See, very Disney. And then, do you want me to keep going? What do you like? Where
I wish you want to talk about specifically about the like supporting like the PBS telethon, as you described it, of preserving this girl's virginity, who otherwise is not important at all to the plot.
We've never seen her before until this moment.
And we kind of see her throughout the rest of the movie, but also not really. Like she just sort of fades away. Like there's so much of this where, again, I don't know if this was meant to be like a TV. Okay, so the other thing I'm just train of thought here. Another element that works about Uncle Francis's Wine Cellar is that they cover what Coppola is best at, which, like a lot of old white dudes who make movies decades ago, is just like, that movie's not good. You know, it's actually good if I recut that movie. Like, there's like 4 versions of Apocalypse Now. There's like 3 of The Godfather. He recut entirely Godfather 3 into a good movie. He's like, the studio keeps taking away my movies and making me release versions that I don't want to release. I'm the only one who knows how to make a good movie. Here's a recut version, the director's, the definitive edition, whatever. I can't wait for the 4.5-hour version of this, if there's ever one, because there should be one, because like there's so much story here. I was trying to talk out like, was this supposed to be like a TV show? Because like, it's a long movie. It's like 2.5 hours, but it's still not nearly long enough to capture
any idea
fraction of what he's trying to do.
They were improvising on set all the time. Like, so like every day he's like, let's just play. That's not good when you have this script and you're rewriting.
And you have these actors just sitting there, like staring at you.
And this is a random thing, but like every article I've had that has done really well, I haven't thought about. Someone's like, Mark, go write this, or I write like some of my biggest posts. I'm just like, yeah, that sounds fun. And I write it like really quick. The ones that haven't been successful, the ones that are in my brain for a year and I labor on them. And then I add, like, I put them out and they're just like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Like, so I think this is that version of that. Like, this is one that's
trapped in your own head. Like, and like what you're imagining this to be, and then you're trying to capture that, and like, and you have a vision that you don't have input for. Like, you're not taking input because like you have a vision so staunchly in your head that you can't like go beyond it. I can see that happening. Like, I could. My favorite part. So there's a part where Adam Driver he can stop time for some reason. I forgot about
the first
that.
Trailer for this movie was the first scene of the movie. So Adam Driver,
so it looked like Inception or something.
He just walks out onto the rooftop and he just goes, "Time, stop," and like the city stops and he's able to walk around. I remember thinking, "The fuck is this movie? Like, where does this happen?" And then to see the movie and like it's how it opens makes even less sense.
Coppola is saying that all artists can stop time. He's like, when people did cave paintings, they froze time on that wall.
It's true.
So like that's what That's never really explained.
We also haven't talked about the actual plot of the movie before we get back to what Joe's saying, is that like there is a substance called megalon, which can kind of be whatever. Like it can make dresses invisible. It can heal wounds.
You can see through me.
It can also build cities of the future.
But cities of the future are utopic because they look like plants. That's all I've learned.
And also they have like the people mover. Like that's just whatever.
Oh yeah. They have digital moving walkways.
It can move Andor's, that lady from Andor.
Yeah.
Around. Yeah.
And it looks like a plant. And if you put people in a city that looks like a plant,
They're
gonna
falling
be
off.
happy. They're going to be happy. No,
There's no guardrails in that place.
I know. The safety, very little concerns because they're so happy.
So Joe, continue. Your favorite thing.
Do you want to talk about the plot first, and I can just get to it when I get
No,
to it? Or
I don't want to talk about the plot.
Perfect. Yeah, let's shoot it like the movie. Okay, here we go. My favorite part was there's a point where apparently Adam Driver. I'll do some backstory here to fill in the plot. Adam Driver killed his wife, but he really didn't kill his wife because Adam Driver's main rival in the film is Gustavo Fring. Okay,
yes.
He's the mayor of New Rome, and Adam Driver's like Elon Musk with a drinking habit. And possibly ketamine. I mean, he does do some sniffs, but he's like Elon Musk kind of that like owns he builds the Megalon, okay? And he wants to build Megalopolis, a city built out of Megalon that looks like plants, and everybody's happy. But so eventually, like, something happens where, like, I don't really fucking know. I can't follow. But either way, Adam Driver, when he stops time, he just like looks at old videos of his wife in his brain, I guess. So he's just like watching one of those.
I don't think they're in his brain. I think there.
Okay.
I think there is a room somewhere that is like an augmented reality where he is able to see his wife dying in a bed.
Sure,
I think. But Nathalie
Either one
Emmanuel
of
can
those
also
makes
see
sense.
him, and she says to us, he can still see her.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Around this time. Either way, so eventually he's like confessing like what happened because he didn't kill his wife, and Gustavo Fring kind of framed him for it, and he like finally admits that he knows that he didn't kill his wife, and he's like, yeah, like that night she told me she had really good news, and then drove the car into the water. And you're like, okay. And so like, and like, you're like, it kind of is alluding that she was pregnant. And then like, they like cut, like shoots down, and it's a shot that like shows her body in the water. And then it's 5 people that were in paint laying together to form the image of the woman and the 2 twin fetuses in her like dissipate. But it's like actual dance performers that like peel away. And I was like, why? Why did you ever choose to do that there? Like it was such like a fantastical it was such a fantastical moment, and I was just like, none of these choices make sense. This was definitely a person that was not being told no at any point. No. And has an idea in his head that he's like, I must convey exactly how I can see the scene. It's so cool. And then you see it like actually happen, and you're just like, why did you do that?
Yeah, he can explain it all, which is crazy.
Yeah.
When you listen to him talk about it, he's like, oh, so I did this because I want everyone to have hope. This is about hope and populations getting together and at the end, like having conversations, and he can explain it all. So I watched this, listened to everything he had to say. Then I watched it again with my wife. It was like, yeah, Francis. Yeah. And then you watch again. Nah. Like,
you're like, you know what? Maybe he is right. He did have some points here. And then you go back and look at the source material and you're like, okay, I guess. Yeah.
Nah. Yeah, I mean, like Mayor Cicero's not even an issue in this film. Like he's not.
No,
he's just the dad of Julia who falls in love with Caesar. Then they have a baby.
Yeah, and then he's like an old granddad. He like caves really quick. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'll stop trying to ruin the world. Just take care of my granddaughter or whatever. And they're like, okay.
I have a question, guys. If one character from the Fast and Furious was like, hey guys, can you stop time for me? Which one do you think you could actually make a go of it for? It's like when Julia tells Caesar, like, Caesar, can you stop time? Like, if she said that to me, I'm like, yeah, I'll try. Like, yeah, like I probably could do it. It's like, what character from Fast and Furious do you think you could move, like, stop time for?
Oh,
it's got to be. And if I'm 06, Mark, it's Neela. Like, if she walked up and she's like, Mark, stop time. I'm like, yeah,
like, I'm gonna fucking try. I'm gonna at least.
Like, I guarantee you, everybody around me would feel something. Like I don't know if time would stop a lot, but everyone go like, you did something. And then like you'd hear 4 car crashes behind me. I think I could do that. 06 Mark could. So I'm gonna say Neela. She said I could stop it for like 0.3 seconds, but people would know.
I mean, I'm just gonna say Mia. I mean, Mia's my favorite. I also
Jordana is a good guess. An early Jordana.
I will tease a future of Instagram where even Vin is now referring to her kind of as the heart of the race.
No.
He doesn't say the heart of the race, but he says the heart of the franchise. And I'm just like,
Nico's onto something. Yeah.
So you would stop it for who?
For Mia, for Jordana Brewster.
Yeah.
Jordana Brewster's a really good guess. Yeah, I would have to pick. It would have to be somebody that's like super captivating. I don't think that Cypher does that because she's kind of evil, so I couldn't.
So here's
Joe
my
too. Stop time.
Here's my question for you, Joe, and also for Mark.
Sorry.
But, Joe and I talk a lot on here about the only thing left for the franchise is time travel, right? Like that's the only thing left. They've gone to space. There's the only thing left is time travel. If Dom were able to stop time the way that Caesar is able to do so
what if that's how wait, stop. What if that's how 10 starts? 10 part 2. 10 part 2 starts because Dom, like Michelle Rodriguez, Letty's like, Dom, stop time, does the Mark thing. Because Dom would definitely be able to stop time for Letty, right?
Yeah.
There's no way that pipeline doesn't work.
My question is, if he stops time, would that satisfy our desire for time travel? Or does he literally have to go
slow
back
down
in time?
when he caught her in Fast 6?
It would be good to know that he has had this capability for the entire franchise.
You could flash back to it.
Oh, we could flash back to like all the moments that Dom gets out of like wild, or they all get
in
out of
slow
wild
motion.
shit, and he's just like boop, and he just like has his hand out.
The Pixie song, stop.
Yeah.
Joe, I thought you were going to say that your favorite moment in this movie is when Adam Driver returns to their apartment and Aubrey Plaza is like flopping around the bed, mostly naked, and she goes, "Caesar, you're anal as hell. I, on the other hand, am oral as hell." And then she goes down on him. It's just like, that's like...
No, I did like her face sitting
like
Shia,
15 minutes into the movie. Like, it's just like, oh, this is what this is going to be.
Because that's the thing. So the movie's constantly teetering between being like Coppola seeing in his head that he is making a Shakespearean play that is being captured on film, and then also the dialogue and every other part of the film being like wildly B-tier Lifetime movie.
Well, there's also something remarkable about this movie where at least once, if not twice, if not more that I missed, actors misspeak their lines, catch themselves, correct the line, and that stays in the movie.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's because there's not enough money to do a reshoot, if Coppola liked that, if that was the way it was written. Like, literally any of those is a possibility.
Yeah.
It's just remarkable to watch a movie made last year, or made
this big,
whatever,
this many actors,
that cost this much money.
It feels raw.
And it's just like, oh no, that's a mistake.
People talk about the budget of this film, but I think a lot of it went to how long it went. Like, I don't think a lot of money was spent on...
I agree with you.
I know they shot
it's
in
like some
Trilith. Like they used the volume, but they also like had to wait hours every day for scripts. So you're not shooting a lot. You're probably paying overtime. And so I think sometimes people confuse giant budgets or big budgets with production design, and like you can see
that
it
they
on
spent
screen.
The money. They didn't, not that they wasted the money.
Yeah,
right.
So like I think this movie, had it been organized, had there been like if Coppola had a producer that was just there for him, like he had a producer that was like, "Yo, I got you," just work with him, and he maybe had a crew from the beginning, this probably could have shot in a few months. But instead it was like 5 in Trilith with a giant volume and a big cast. And because you watch scenes, there's not many extras. Like there's not.
No.
They do like the club scene, and they went and shot that, but that's like 4 seconds of the movie, and they that's where Coppola got in trouble. So I'm just wondering about, like, he probably shot a lot, missed his vision, had to edit it together, and I think that's where the cost came in. I think if like Rennie Harlan came in, Rennie, baby, 30 million, Megalopolis, you're going to Finland. No, wait, you're going to Latvia. He's like, yeah, I got you. He could do it.
Yeah.
I think that's where the budget went. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we talk a lot about the budget, but I just think
it's not shown. You don't see where the budget went.
No, and they had to scale back because he fired departments. I mean, he'd done that before. So it's, I don't know. I would have liked to have worked on it and just
Yeah, yeah.
drank
Just
coffee and
to
just
be in it.
stared at everything and just been like, this is crazy. Because you know how much downtime you would have on that movie? It'd be awesome. Like, I just drink coffee.
Okay, and then we have like another 6 hours of downtime.
If you could survive it. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's so many different parts. Like Shia's scene with Aubrey, that goes super fast.
Yeah, because
when they do the
don't skip over it. We
takeover,
find out that Aubrey Plaza is now a witch.
yeah, and she cut Samson's hair,
Yeah,
which is Shia's hair. There's a lot of like symbolic stuff in here, but yeah, I think a lot of it's just like, you know what would be great? Let's do this, like just throwing stuff
so
at the wall.
What I think that when he originally came up with the script in the 80s, he was doing a lot of cocaine and never like the script never sobered up. Is you know what I'm saying? Like he had a coke idea then and was like, no, but that actually works, instead of being like, oh god, that was like a really dumb idea.
Well,
Like,
can you imagine if you've been writing a screenplay for 40 years? At a certain point, like, you need to throw it out and start over.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like, well, I've been working on this for 40 years. I can't get rid of it.
And you're like, no, but you need to just like start over, like just scrap that, put it on a different computer, get a whole new computer, and you'd be like, okay, let me go back from like the original idea, start there.
Like, Sophia, take a look at this.
Yeah.
Please
Somebody.
proofread this script of mine. But I think, you know what's interesting? The actors were game. I think Driver was game to just show up on
He
set
was.
and play. Like he's in so many different movies where he's just down to like, yeah, sure, I'll lose 50 pounds and go do Silence. It's fine. Like, whatever. I'm down for whatever. And I think Aubrey Plaza, down for whatever. Shia LaBeouf, he's very antagonistic, but he'll do whatever. I heard John Voight on set was like, yeah, this is great. Like, he's just having fun with it. So I think he brought in a lot of people who were down to play, which maybe they're like, yeah, that's your idea, Francis. Fuck it, let's do it. And like,
But you need a mom. You need a bad
yeah,
cop.
it
It feels like there's none of that at any point in this movie. There's nobody being like, wait, hold on, what are we doing? Why?
yeah, there was no bad cop. You're right. There was no line producer that's just looking at the budget and in Spreadsheet City, just miserable.
Yeah.
Oh no, like you don't have that, which is interesting. Like, and but also too, like, you know, Malick had a lot of issues making Badlands, but I think a few people believed in him because they knew that what he was making would be beautiful for the shots, and like, and that movie turned out to be a classic. But I think they cared deeply. I think in this one they were just happy having fun. Like Aubrey Plaza, like, what are we doing today? Shia LaBeouf he's getting up right in my butt. Sure.
Yeah.
Like, let's just go do it. And so, like you said, there was no mom. There was no like people who cared deeply about it. It just seemed like everyone was down to play and get paid for it. And like, she was shooting Agatha all along, so she's like, I'm here, might as well shoot two things and get paid twice. Yeah, I like that. That's movie should be called No Mom.
There's also the thing, and it's not a conversation to have here because we've talked about it before, and it's not our thing to say, but like, this movie can only be made by an old white guy, right? Because like,
Yes.
women don't get these chances, people of color don't get these chances, young people don't get these chances. It's really only old white guys who also self-find. Like, it's just like there's a very specific thing,
Yeah.
and there's something I find reassuring that this is not going to keep him from making other movies. Like, if he wants to make more movies, he's going to find a way to make more movies. People are going to give him
find a
money
way
to make
They're
more
going
movies.
to. Yeah. Good, bad, ugly. Doesn't matter.
At least it's not a blank check movie like an Evan Almighty. Yeah, man, you made a good one. Take 200 million to make this. Or like, hey, Lasseter or whoever made, or Stanton, go make John Carter. Like, here's $300 million. This one, he put his butt on the line for it. And, you know, he put a lot of capital and he had done it before. So I guess I don't look at this as like this is more of like a passion project that just he needed to excise from his brain and no one really gave a shit. But like, I kind of like it better than just like a white dude getting 300 million to make John Carter.
Yes.
Fair. Good point.
Does that make sense? Like, at least because there's swings in this. I don't know. You can almost see where the money's going, and you can see how it's happening. But there's, you know what though, there's enough there. Like, I love, and like, I think Emmanuel, she looks great in this movie. I think this is the best she's ever acted. I think, and
She's the one that's like, it seemed like there was only a script for her at times.
yeah,
Right? Is that, you know what I'm feeling? Like you see her and you're like, she's delivering lines, she knows her cues, she's crushing, and then everybody else is like, but what if we did this?
Well, I feel
funny,
like
silly thing.
I can kind of, I think I can kind of explain that though, because I think like this is very clearly a movie about Caesar, right? Like it's Adam Driver's movie, and like he is in almost every scene, almost every shot or whatever. But it's her character, it's Julia who like heals him. So, like, Adam Driver, his character has, like, way too much going on. He's got, like, 55 different storylines, 55 different plots, whatever. And, like, none of it makes sense because there's just too much. But her job, it's kind of fridging, it's kind of whatever. It's just, like, fix him.
Be the woman that fixes him and gets pregnant.
And so
She's Coldplaying him.
There's something easy, in a way, of writing that where it's just, like, she is what he needs. And so
it's true,
she can fix that. She can solve that. She can serve that purpose. And she's good at it. But it's also like, well, the movie is him where like there's like a little like 8-year-old kid who like shoots him in the eye and he doesn't die because Megalon. Somebody needs to be there
he
to
does
like
get shot in the face.
Help him come back to life. And it's like, well, it's Julia, right? So
I think they knew what to do with her too. Like I think when she hit Game of Thrones, everyone's like, she's great. Like let's put her in Maze Runner. But like no one really knew what to do with her. Even like the Furious movies, they still don't know what to do with her in those movies.
That's a broader thing of that they just like don't know what to do with any women in these movies.
Yeah, exactly. Like all she does is get hit on for multiple films. You're like, guys, like at least in 9 they gave her like a driving scene, which she had some fun with. But then she pops up in Game of Thrones. But I don't think they knew what to do with her then. And like Army of Thieves, it's just a prequel. They're like, who is she? I don't know. We like her. Put her in this. Like I think Invitation they tried, but that was filmed so quickly during the pandemic. Like they're like, yeah, she'd be great. But then I think she jumped on the lead, like the chance for a starring role, but it was The Invitation. I think this one was the first, like even The Killer is good, but it's like John Woo remaking his own movie. So the energy is going to be gone, even though she's good. I think this one, maybe she had, like you said, Joey, she had the clearest role. I will fix you.
Uh-huh.
I think that's why she excels, because there's a very clear goal for her that doesn't involve getting hit on by Tyrese.
Right.
There's an Elvis impersonator in this movie for some reason.
Well, Vegas, maybe like that's the thing that feels like it could be this movie.
Is Saturnalia Christmas, and does that make it a Christmas movie, and is that why you like it so much, Joey?
Saturnalia is a real thing.
But it looks like Christmas in this movie. Their version of Saturnalia is just Christmas.
Oh, one thing that we haven't talked about, guys. They're like,
Please.
concrete and steel is safe. There's that line in the movie. And I think Coppola is saying there's so many movies that are just concrete and steel. And listen, you make a building with concrete and steel, it could stand for many, many years, but it could be boring. So he wants to go out and make Megalopolis with Megalon. No one knows what Megalon is. He didn't know what Megalon is, but he definitely didn't play it safe in this movie. And so but like they mentioned that a lot in here where, concrete and steel is safe and this movie is not safe.
Yeah, in the future, like we're not looking for the future, and yeah, I can see it. Like I said, in his head, he has ideas.
I know that you said it before, and like nobody reacted to it, but like the line, "You can see right through me." Like there is somehow both not subtext and everything is subtext at the same time.
Yes, yes, exactly.
There's like leap into the unknown when they're talking about in this, and there's a lot of things that kind of, and also when Schwartz started playing the drums, I really wanted him to start doing California.
Oh my god, when I saw for no reason there's like a 1 second clip where like Jason Schwartzman starts playing the drums, and I really wanted him to break into Phantom Planet. I'm with you, I was such a fan, and I was like, oh no, but like also like that feels like something that they're like, can we get a drum? He plays drums. Can we get a drum set for like a scene?
Yes.
And nobody said no. And they're like, okay, like the lack of the mom being like, we don't need a fucking drum set. Jason Schwartzman doesn't need to play drums for no reason because he can. Like, just move along, cut the scene. We're going along. And they're like, no, but we really need it. And you're like, God damn it. And then like it was like 1 millisecond of the end of the scene while they like transition to the next one. And you're like, why did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You know what I love though? When you guys are trying to explain the plot, it's pretty hard. I guess if the high concept is there's an inventor dude and then a mayor dude, they don't like each other. The inventor dude falls in love with the mayor dude's daughter. There's some problems. And then he also has an uncle. No, that gets too convoluted. It becomes that tree that they show. It's just like everywhere on it. Like, but I guess if you look at other I don't want to sound like a film bro, but like Nolan, when he makes Interstellar, it's like, yeah, He's just going to save the earth, and he wants to get back to his daughter. Like, so he keeps these things really high concept, but then there's also like a tremendous amount of interesting visuals and themes within them. And so this one, the plot is familiar, but then he just loses track of it completely. It could have been like Romeo and Juliet. It could have been.
Well, I thought her name was Julia for that reason, but then it's not.
Same.
Yeah,
and it's not.
And then there's a lot of Hamlet in here. There's just like, is she Ophelia? Like, what are you doing? And so he loses. I'm not saying movies need to be able to be summed up in a elevator ride from floor 1 to floor 2, but this one would take the Sears Tower, and you'd still be working on it when you got to the top.
I was gonna say, it's a great point that like your train derailed 2 sentences into describing what the plot of the movie was. You're like, it's really easy. There's like a guy that doesn't like the other guy, and you're like, okay. And then like by the 3rd sentence, you're like, well, it gets kind of convoluted. Like, you're like, yep, that's what happened. And like that's exactly what happened to describe the movie in general. Like watching it, you're like, oh yeah, that's what happened.
I made an earnest attempt at it too. Like I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to sum this up, and then no, it's just.
Like, you didn't even get to Shia LaBeouf yet, or WoW Platinum. Like, why WoW Platinum? There's so many choices.
But at least he made choice. But this one's, you're right. There's no mom on this, and everyone wanted to play. No one really cared deeply about it. That's the vibe I get when I listen to Adam Brody, talk about it. When I listen to Plaza, and like Shia, they're like, yeah, we didn't really know what was going on, but we had fun. And, Emmanuel, she was just saying, yeah, like it was just crazy on set every day. I was just trying to keep up.
Well, I think there's probably something, and you also might know, I mean, you would know this better than me. I feel like every once in a while, if you are a professional actor and every set is for more or less like the same thing, and then you get to a set like this, where it's like, oh, no one knows what's happening. Like, you wouldn't want this to be every movie you make, because like you wouldn't
but
survive.
It's fun and exciting.
But every once in a while, or for the first time ever, to be like, oh no, like I'm working with like one of the best to ever do it, and I also don't know that he knows what we're actually making today.
Yeah. It's like dating somebody that's really crazy. It's like fun and exciting. You just never know what you're gonna get that day.
Yeah, that's really funny, because if you're making Game of Thrones, that's just a super show, and you're on set. You're like, all right, what do they have for us? Okay, we're here today. I got my scripts. Let's go read that. You're on a lot of these films that are definitely structured. So yeah, I think like Brody had worked on like Jarmusch films. Those are so written, and so we had to kind of stick to that script. And I think with the Star Wars thing, like I bet he just loved showing up here, and they probably did multiple takes of each thing. Like, hey, do one straight, do one silly, do one crazy, and then as opposed to just editing it with the middle takes, Coppola's like, I'll do the straight one here. I'll do
exactly.
I'll do the crazy one here. I'll do the middle one here. This is great. And so I think that he didn't do all 3s, he didn't do all 2s, and he didn't do all 1s. He just did like 3 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here, and you're just like, where am I? And that's what he said. He's like, we just played on set. Joey, if you're like this is like a Nora when they like go to Vegas and just go partying their ass off. Like it's like it's their money. Like, let's just go have fun with it.
Yeah,
I can't believe I brought up a Nora to compare it to that, but it makes sense.
Mine
to
is
me.
a special place.
Okay, and then to end the movie, the baby can stop time, and we remix the Pledge of Allegiance. and that's the outro to this.
It's so good.
I pledge allegiance to our human family and to all the species that we protect. One Earth, indivisible, with long life, education, and justice for all.
So recently, Mark, we've been asking if we could ever tell the difference between a Vin Diesel Instagram comment post, like the post body of an Vin Diesel Instagram. I think that Pledge of Allegiance remix is the closest thing we've ever gotten to a Vin Diesel Instagram post, Joey.
It's up there. It's certainly up there.
It's just like, it's thoughts. There's emotion, a lot of words. Don't really know what you're talking about. You can't figure it out. What are you trying to tell us, bud?
Is he shooting Riddick yet?
He's not shooting anything currently, except maybe Kojak. He's trying to get Kojak going. He's trying to get Riddick going. He's trying to get Fast 10 Part 2 going. He's trying to get the Groot TV series going, or movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks when we do the Life in the Fast Lane, we just review his Instagram post, and he's just hustling. But there's nothing
But
to
he
show
got in
for it
trouble
yet.
last time. He's back now.
Did that Fast 5 thing really derail him for a long time? Is it still derailing him?
What Fast 5 thing?
He got sued for his behavior on Fast 5.
Oh, no, that is not. That is not. even popped up. I forgot that was a
Oh
thing.
wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
we forgot
wow.
about that.
Why not make another Riddick for 30 mil? Has he just lost
He
track
wants
of
to.
how to
No,
make
he wants to. I think it's...
They're kind of like banning him in the background. It seems like Universal tightened their purse strings on him real big.
It seems like
which
what
makes
he is
sense.
trying to do the most right now, number one, is get Universal to like green light or whatever Fast 10 Part 2. Number 2 seems to be Kojak, and then number 3 is Riddick. And then number 4 is Groot.
I just don't know how you move on from Fast 10. Fast 10 is... He wants to go back to the streets of LA. It's like, well, how do you explain that?
My thought was that Universal already sat him down and said, look, this is your budget. You're not getting more money than this. And he's like, we have to bring it back to LA because it's going to be cheaper to like not globetrot to shoot.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that my thing was.
It's
A
justification, yeah.
flip. Yeah, he's saying I'm bringing it back to the roots to save LA after the fires, which are now 8 months ago. It's really that he just like doesn't have any, like the Universal won't give him the money that he wants.
Why
to
did
shoot it
they
wherever.
go so big with Fast 10?
This is another movie. It didn't go so big. The budget was not that they spent all the money, which they did spend a ton of money, but it was because fucking
Justin Lin left.
Justin Lin left
Couple
like
days into
week
production,
one. They're
yeah.
they're all on set, and then they sat there for like 3 weeks with no director
Yeah,
or
that
2
wreck.
weeks.
Why do you leave?
He hates Vin Diesel.
How long has that been?
In that Instagram video that Vin Diesel
Oh,
posted,
yeah.
where he goes, "Hey Justin, how are we doing today?" and he's like, like, yeah, it was that. That's what it was.
Did he
And
come
he
back
quit,
for
like-
Fast 9 and just go,
Well, he did 9, and then he started like there was one Instagram video where Vin was like, "Hey Justin,
Outside of his trailer, yeah.
tell everybody how excited you are to make this next movie that's going to change the world." He goes, "Yeah, it's going to be good." And like you can see that like it's very much like under duress against his
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
And then like within a week he was gone.
oh, man.
And then they just sat everybody down for like 2 weeks to just like hang out wherever they started shooting, probably Italy or whatever. And they just paid for them to be there. And then they scrambled to get Louis Leterrier to like fly over as quickly as possible. to
While
start
on the
actual
flight
production.
over, he was rewriting the screenplay. So like the fact that movie made any sense at all,
No, okay. Got it.
that movie was doomed from the start. But now Leterrier is doing 10-2 if it happens.
Is that why Momoa went so big? Because everyone's like, what are we doing? And then they just sort of let him go full hog.
No, I think it was the other way around. I think that Leterrier was like, we brought in Momoa. He started seeing him shoot, and he was like, "Oh, this is fucking sick." And they just
Okay.
just ramped him up.
Got it.
All right, let's watch the trailer.
Is the trailer just the first scene? or
Well,
did they-
there was
or
a
did you
trailer
get
that
us
was
a
the first thing. I
different
think this is the
trailer?
official trailer, though. I want to make sure this is the right one. No, this is... No. This is a thing. So this is Megalopolis 2024 official trailer. Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Nathalie Emmanuel.
Oh, Natalie? It's Natalie?
I think it's Natalie. I mean, it's spelled Nathalie, but I think it's Natalie.
Okay.
Posted
I
by
always say
Lionsgate
Nathalie.
Movies.
Yeah.
This is to preview the ultimate IMAX experience, which is what I saw.
What was the difference? The ultimate was you get a guy reading the question.
Well, no, it was the pre Q&A live simulcast from New York.
Okay.
The top comment, 5,500 thumbs up. For those of you who are younger, this movie will be trashed publicly for the next few weeks, forgotten, revived in the underground film circuit, become a cult classic that everyone pretended they always liked. Then in
True.
about 20 years, will be remade by another director to critical acclaim and box office indifference. Moral of the story, watch it yourselves and see if you like it. Screw everyone else. I would love to see someone in 20 years remake Megalopolis. This guy...
It's gonna happen.
This guy is like, look, this movie's going to be dunked on, and then it's going to have this revival.
This kid's right.
But then I don't think it's going to get remade.
It's too loose. It's not. Like, I think some movie like The Thing came back for reappraisal because it tanked. And everyone went, wait a second. No, this is great. Why did this not do well? I think this one doesn't. I don't think this one's going to come back.
I do think that there's a world that this comes back in. That there's going to be
Ironically?
No, there's going to be some young up-and-coming director whose dream is going to be to make what he thinks Coppola's vision was for Megalopolis with a bigger budget, and that's what's going to happen. And it's going to be an homage. I think that there's we're
Villeneuve,
gonna
he
get
just
that.
goes to Budapest
Yeah.
and makes it.
He's going to definitely do something fun.
I mean, I
like,
think
there's
the
going to be
thing
like a guy.
to keep in mind, though, is that Coppola owns the rights to this. And so if anybody remakes it, he will have to give the blessing.
Well, until he dies, And I'm talking. Give it another 40 years, right? He's gonna be dead. Like Sophia's probably gonna be dead, and then we have like somebody in like the family is gonna be like, yeah, like I'm working with this new up and coming director that's like super famous now, and they just like redo the thing again, and people are gonna be like, this movie sucks again. Like it's just gonna be like the exact same. We're just gonna go through the exact same cycle.
Anyway, let's watch the trailer. Are you guys ready to watch the trailer?
Yes, sir.
3, 2, 1, play.
Don't let the now destroy the forever.
Okay.
American Zoetrope.
The trailer there was a trailer for the trailer.
Has always been ahead of his time.
I don't know if this is the trailer or not, but do you remember there was a trailer for this movie that was filled with quotes that were AI generated of critics ripping his other films? And they're like, look, people never got any of these other movies either. It's like, well, none of these are real quotes.
Oh no, I didn't know that. What was Thor's hammer just doing? Where did that come in the movie?
Oh, it was the T square. It's his architect tool. It's in the movie.
Oh, okay. Oh, he lives in the Statue of Liberty too, but that's not an important part of the movie either.
They gave away a lot of good visuals in the first 10 seconds of this thing.
Yeah, they did.
It the way it is.
Yeah.
People need help now. Don't let the now destroy the forever.
Ooh.
We're in need of a great debate about the future. Enjoy the show.
1, 2, 3. Yippee. Yay.
That one was cool too. The bottle, the reverse bottle break.
And I watched a visual effects artist react to this, and they did love the scene where they're sitting on the clock because they elevated the set in the volume, so it's not just like a circular thing looking down. So they got some really interesting shots in there.
Yeah, the movie looks great, like just visually.
Oh, and that spinning scene with the bottle, that was really cool. How the bottle crashed.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Yeah, that was one of my. I like that when he throws the bottle and it flips and smashes, but then it doesn't reverse. It's pretty cool.
All right, we should also say as a teaser at the end, but he did not say the actual title is Megalopolis: A Fable.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now you do.
Yeah, now I do.
Okay. Boy. Letterboxd game. So for reference sake, Mad Max Fury Road, one of the most watched films on Letterboxd, has been seen by 2.5 million people. Megalopolis came out last year, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, starring Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Nathalie Emmanuel, Aubrey Plaza, Shia LaBeouf, Jon Voight, Lawrence Fishburne, Talia Shire, Jason Schwartzman, Catherine Hunter, Grace VanderWaal, Chloe Fineman, James Remar, who we know is Agent Markham in Too Fast in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
How many? Oh, also Romy Mars plays girl reporter. Romy Mars of the wonderful Mom's Boyfriend Grounded Me because I wanted to charter a helicopter to visit my friend in Maryland.
Oh, yes.
His granddaughter.
That video is so good.
She's in this as girl reporter. How many people on Letterboxd.com have watched Megalopolis?
I'm gonna go because I know it flopped, but I think people would still see it a ton.
Or pretend to have seen it.
Yeah, that too. I want to.
Mike Manzi has not given it a rating.
I'm gonna go 85,000. I think that's a low number, but that's what I'm gonna start with.
50K.
You're both too low.
Okay, 126,000.
158.
You're both too low. One more guess.
Way. No way.
That many people have logged this. Well, Letterboxd is kind of
also keep in mind, you basically can't watch this movie anymore. So you're right to guess low, but you're both you're too low.
200.
Yeah, 212,000.
308,000.
No way.
531.
No.
So you think they're lying? You calling shenanigans?
Yes.
Average rating of a 2.3, most common a 2, then a 1, then a 3, then a 2.5, then a 1.5, then a 1, then a 4, then a 3.5, then a 5, then a 4.5. How many of those 309,000 people have this in their top 4 favorite films of all time?
I bet it's a bunch. I bet people like if this hits for you, you're gonna be like, I fucking love this. Give me 300,000. Give me.
I thought you were going to guess that out of the 309,000, 300,000 of them have it in their top 4 because that's the right answer.
No. No, it's not.
14.
No, it got to be more than that. I'm going to start at like 125.
You're both too low.
378.
Yeah, 450.
You're both too low. One more guess.
Jesus fuck! See, I told you. I'm telling you. If people are like, if it hits, it's going to be big.
1,028.
1,200.
497.
No way.
We are going to go to One Walls at One Walls, who watched this twice. September 29th of last year. All you heathens are wrong. All of you. You simply do not understand. You are all like the citizens of New Rome, drunk and lost in your inhibitions.
Oh.
It's easy to understand this movie, though. I know I can't explain it. I can explain it, but it's easy to know what this movie's about.
I think there is, though, like, you don't get it as in, like, you don't see what he's trying to do. Like, you can get it, but you can't get it, right? So.
And also, this movie made $14.38 million.
Yeah.
Worldwide. So, average ticket price is $15.
So, a million people saw
1
it.
million. And not everyone's on Letterboxd. And like, I know some people rented it when it came out for $25. A lot of people pirated it, but that's a huge number of people who logged it. Like, the percentage wise of that is kind of absurd.
Yeah, you're like every showing of that film was full theaters at max price, and they all logged it on Letterboxd, right? Like that's
yeah.
I will say though that like the type of person who would be inclined to see Megalopolis is also the type of person who is inclined to be on Letterboxd.
This is true. You have to keep
ready
this
to write a 1-sentence review.
So we're going to go to One Wall's profile. The rest of the review's not really worth reading. His 4th favorite film of all time is Megalopolis. His profile picture is Adam Driver with the Megalon eye patch. So he loves this movie.
He does love this movie, yeah.
Bio. Sorry for any typos. His top 3 favorite films. His number 1 is the saddest superhero.
Unbreakable?
No. Sadder.
Constantine?
Sadder.
Joker?
More emo.
Like Spawn?
More emo.
Captain America?
In the way.
Deadpool?
Oh, wait, Matt Reeves' Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman.
The saddest
yes.
Batman.
I like emo Batman.
I like that they actually used a Nirvana song. And
The
not a
number
cover of a Nirvana
2
song.
movie is a kaiju movie where the kaiju acts like a cat.
Oh, I can't help with this one. I'm gonna need your help,
Kaiju
Mark.
movie where a kaiju acts like a cat.
My review of this movie,
How to Train Your
was-
Dragon?
my cat Fox acts like this blank most of the time.
Totoro?
Nope.
How to Train Your Dragon's a good guess, bud. I like that
A
one.
kaiju movie where it acts like not colossal. Kaiju.
This guy's just like being a
Godzilla
cat.
vs. Kong when it sleeps in
You're
this
closer.
Godzilla 2014?
You're closer.
Godzilla and Kong?
You're close there
Godzilla
though.
vs. Kong?
You're not that close.
Where am I? I'm close. Kong Skull Island?
Survive and fight, live and resist.
Oh, Godzilla -1?
Yeah.
Hey.
Nice.
That
Okay.
Godzilla is such like a cat, just like flopping
Yeah,
around,
when it's sleeping in the Coliseum.
being real annoying about stuff, getting into shit. And then number 3 is a movie that doesn't. So a guy who loves The Batman, Godzilla -1, and Megalopolis. You're like, this guy. Like I kind of got him pegged. New movies, flashy things, whatever.
I like shiny things.
This other one is from the 50s, almost 4 hours long, universally beloved. I've never seen it.
Ben-Hur, Sound of Music.
Ben-Hur.
I've seen Ben-Hur. Our Latin teacher in high school used to play Ben-Hur for us all the time.
Just show up to class hungover and put it on.
No, he was really nutty, like really, really nutty. So we would like I think we'd watch it pretty much every Friday.
Actually, it's kind of Caesar-y. It does.
I was
going to
say it's a lot like Megalopolis. To be honest,
It does
it's
make
ancient
sense.
Rome. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark, for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks
I
for talking through this movie with us.
I know
but
I didn't let loose, so normally we go stranger, but also, hey guys, you brilliant inventors. Who is your Alfred? So Lawrence Fishburne is his Alfred. Like what character from Fast? We're only going Fast and Furious. Who's going to be your driver if you're a brilliant inventor?
I want Ramsey.
Oh.
Driver as an Adam Driver, or driver as in like driver of a car?
So
'Cause
like
you can't-
you're Caesar, and you get to pick like who's your bodyguard driver. Like Lawrence Fishburne is his. So you're Caesar. Who's your?
Is protection part of it? Because I was thinking about just like the idea of like a sounding board right-hander. That's why I was taking.
Yeah,
if
to
I
do
was an
whatever you want.
inventor, Natalie Emmanuel. But like if she actually has to drive the car, probably not the best idea. She's not very good at driving in Fast and the Furious.
No, like what they keep doing in Fast and Furious is like they're like, we need to add a new character. Like it can't be a complete character. It has to be like a fraction. I would just pick Jacob.
Whoa.
Okay.
In
Good-
terms of like
good choice.
bodyguard, in terms of like driver, in terms of like can like rig things together.
Loyalty, yeah. MacGyvery, you're right.
He seems like a good travel buddy. He has little bottles of shots with him and stuff.
Yeah, plus he does that road trip with Little B or whatever.
Oh
That's kinda
yeah,
fun,
he's a
too.
great road tripper.
They're like in the car. He's like he has passports in the back if we need to break free. I think you won, Joe.
Han would be eating the whole time.
Yeah, he's not very helpful. He'd be cool. He'd be fun to hang out with.
Yeah, I like Jacob. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
thank you.
won.
Wait, did you say? Oh no, you said Mia. You would stop time for.
Yeah.
You think you could stop time for her?
No.
But the funniest part is like if I ran into either Mia or Jordana Brewster in real life, she would stop time for me. Like whenever you like encounter like somebody that's like that famous and like that pretty, I would just be like, whoa. And then like I'm like, she did it. Like I couldn't do it, but like I watched her just do it to me.
That's a really interesting point because I'm not going to say who it is, but sometimes on sets, someone I would work with first team and stuff like that, and sometimes like one of the actors would like smile at me. You just freeze.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really terrifying. It's like looking too close to the sun.
I hated when they talked to me. I was like, just let me do my job.
Mark, thank you for joining us. Thank you for inspiring us to cover this probably sooner than we would have. I mean, on a long enough timeline, we will watch every movie just because forever is forever. But we covered this earlier because you wanted to cover it. I also, before we get to your plugs, I do want to shout out our patrons, Alex Ellenin, Justin Kleinman, Brian Rodriguez of Uncle Francis's Wine Cellar, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden Renato, Di Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, Mike Gallagher, Josh Buckley of Whole Lot of Wolves,
Yep.
Michael Moser, Christian Larson, Tara Newman, Aaron Willows, Natalie Absolute, Randy Carter, Josh Gularm, Alex Walsh, Jack Haley, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting the $5 a month level or above. Go to fast2forever.com if you want to join those ranks. But Mark, thank you once again. What would you like to plug? Where can people find you? What are you working on? Any podcasts going on currently? People listening to this, where do you want them to find you?
Yeah, the Movies, Films, and Flicks podcast. Just listen to that. Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. We have some fun episodes coming out. People are loving the Alien 3 episode I did with Norbert on Movies, Films, and Flicks.
Did you watch the Fincher cut?
Yeah. I watched all. Yeah,
It's pretty good.
yeah, it's real good. But people are digging it. Like people are really liking that conversation.
Love it.
Good.
Jay and I had a fun Final Destination one where we came up with Mary Elizabeth Wetstead, so people are liking that episode. And then I have new Rotten Tomatoes articles. I had to update my Dwayne Johnson property destruction article for them. That I wrote that in 2018, so I had to revisit that. And then I updated my Tom Cruise running article for them. And then they want more pitches, so look for that. Yeah, just read those.
Joe, our next episode, assuming that no scheduling conflicts persist, will be Fate of the Furious next week, and we have a Life in the Fast Lane. If needed, we might flip-flop those, but, who knows. So get emails into family@cageclub.me, but Fate of the Furious coming up soon, and then also Life in the Fast Lane, number 49, Tokyo Drift, minute 15, maybe Noodle Grandma, maybe not Noodle Grandma, I don't know.
Maybe we're close to Noodle Grandma.
Getting close to Noodle Grandma. But for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or @TooFastTooForever on all the socials. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFastTooForever.com and our store at cageclub.me/shop. Margaret got her Justice is Coming shirt. I'm like, do you want me to explain what you're wearing? She's like, yeah, you can. And like a sentence in, I could tell she did not care anymore. I was like, okay, so there's F9, there's Han. So you know Han, but you don't really know Han. And I'm like, she doesn't care, but she likes
It
the
sounded
shirt.
like you trying to explain the plot of this movie.
I know.
I hate when it's always funny when you try to explain somebody and they immediately don't care.
Well, it's just like she wanted to support me. She wanted to support us. She bought the shirt. It's a gigantic. She's like, I'm not going to wear it out because like she got like 2 or 3X, like whatever the biggest one, so she could like sleep in it, whatever. And it's enormous, but it's comfortable. And I'm like, do you want to like know what because like I assume the answer is no, and she said yes, and I was just like, how can I get a Jesse/Han/F9/trailer slogan tagline explanation
at the fastest possible
out
direction.
before she's bored? Did not succeed.
Do you guys have comfort colors?
So we do everything through TeePublic, so you can buy like nicer shirts that are like $3 more, $6 more, whatever. You can get like really soft. Like there are really soft versions of the shirts.
Man, listen, y'all, I love me some comfort colors.
CageClub.me/shop.
I don't know if they specifically use comfort colors, but they use something similar.
Wait, TeePublic, Too Fast, Too Forever shirts.
Yeah.
Justice is
coming.
Gotcha. Oh.
If you buy a Justice is Coming shirt, you will be the only person in the world who does not live in our house to own that shirt.
Also, wait for a sale. There's a sale like
3
every
times a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
3 times
it's
a month.
$16 for 2 days right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so there you go.
it's a sale.
Then it's if you did want to buy one, I was just warning you, don't spend full price. It's always on sale every other week.
Oh, I love that. Letty and Maya and Saki.
That one does numbers. I wear that one all the time.
I like the Cuban Cafe one. I love me some Cuban coffee.
There you go.
All right, well, why
Thank
not?
you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. I'm Joey Lewandowski,
I'm Joe too.
and that was Mark Hofmeyer of Movies, Films, and Flicks. Coming soon-ish, maybe, sometime. You're Next, which we've not recorded yet, but coming soon to that show.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about You're Next, and we will tell you all about it.
When we see you again.